Dude, I don't fucking know. We got... Yeah, we got... Okay, let me just start this fight. Let me just start this chapter again. Late at night, the clanging sound of the door and the windows opening woke up Wendell from his deep sleep. He wearily rolled off the bed and surveyed his surroundings. YouTube is telling me it's a good time for me to put in ads right now. What do you guys think? What happened? Utopia entered a very heavy storm, but it wasn't easy for the recent insomniac Wendell to fall asleep. But he had no choice but to get out of bed, his mind lethargic, and he looked rather lost. He soon realized there was no wind blowing in from the open window, nor did the rain enter. It was like he had opened it while sleepwalking. Wendell suddenly thought of the supernatural events that he had experienced and learned from his dossier. He was reminded of the fear of the unknown that once ruled his heart. Why did someone delete reading? Yeah, no, we're not big. The community is not big on Shadow Slave over here. He didn't know what else would happen, nor could he guess what he would encounter. He felt a chill run down his back. At this moment, he heard a commotion outside, as all sorts of voices entered his ear. There were the loud sounds of running, the sounds of judgment, the declarations of order to be changed and concealed. Something is wrong with the underground seal! Be on high alert! Underground seal? What kind of item could be sealed beneath the hotel? Wendell was surprised and confused. He then saw an MI9 colleague who he barely recognized and Colonel Gio Derecha, who was on active duty. Did MI9 find Utopia because of me? No, you idiot! You're back in the MI9 headquarters, you idiot. He looked around as he discovered that the corridor outside had been different from the hotel. Not only were there gas lamps on both sides, there were also classical candle stands. The floor was very bright and the ceiling was more than 3 meters high. This isn't the hotel. He quickly recognized that this was his sleeping quarters in MI9. Wendell clearly remembered that he had headed to Utopia through the washroom. He wasn't too confident in the process, so he didn't bring his luggage, which was now sitting in the corner of the room. He quickly ran to the window and looked outside. What greeted his eyes was the garden and lawn of MI9. I'm back in Backland? Or maybe I didn't return to Utopia after all. Maybe I just had a dream. After about 10 seconds, Wendell jumped up and picked up his coat from the ground. He then saw the Utopian subpoena in his inner pocket where it should have been. Wendell fell silent, as though he had become a statue. Yeah, we have a schedule. The schedule now is finish Lord of the Mysteries, Mother of Learning, ORV. Fuck, perfect run. Fuck, we got, okay, perfect run somewhere. And then ORV last, and then COI. Are you gonna take a break? No, Nightwalk. Like, we'll take a break from like Lord of the Mysteries, but like I'm gonna keep streaming. I'm good. Like you take a break from stuff that's tiring to you, right? Like, I just fucking enjoy this. This is just fun. Getting to talk to you guys, getting to read stuff. It's just nice. COI in like 2030. No, COI would be like, I'm thinking like April or May or something. It shouldn't be that long. After COI, throw in a magical arcana. After COI, no promise. Travel columnist Monica, who also woke up from the banging of doors and windows. No, cause guys, Mother of Learning, Perfect Run and ORV are like, I don't know, combined like 1,000, 1,100 chapters. I read 1,400 chapters of Lord of the Mysteries in 6 months. So like it should be about 6 months or so. Maybe a little bit longer because I can't stream twice a day like I used to at the start. So maybe a little bit, but like it shouldn't be that long. No, it's fine. Okay. She sat straight up, pulled a blanket. Travel columnist Monica also woke up from the banging of the doors and the windows. She sat up and pulled a blanket up. The sleepy-eyed Monica's first reaction was that a robber had barged into the hotel. She was about to scream and call for the police, but in the next 10 to 20 seconds, she didn't hear any footsteps. However, there were more and more people gathering in the corridor. What the hell is going on? Was it a hurricane? Was it a prank? Damn, clown. If I knew who it was, I would definitely kick his ass. The voices of discussions were mixed in with all kinds of curses. Monica didn't think much of it when she heard it. Instead, she thought of using the crowd's discussion to consider the underlying reason of the activity. But as she listened, she realized something was amiss. How did the hotel have so many guests? She clearly remembered that this floor had at most 5 rooms. At the moment, Monica thought of the ghost stories she had heard and felt there were wraiths outside. She had originally stretched her feet to the bedside, preparing to leave the room to participate in the discussion, but now she retracted her feet and curled up in a ball, trembling. I was thinking Monica from Friends, but yeah, that works. A few seconds later, she heard a man say, "I asked the hotel owner. He said that he has no idea what happened. Perhaps it was just a short storm. Return to your room and get some rest. Remember to lock the windows. I have to get up early for the Royal Museum." Royal Museum? As a travel columnist who had been in Utopia for long, she knew there was no museum here. In the Lone Kingdom, a museum with a royal name would definitely be in Backland. To take a steam locomotive from Utopia to Backland required many hours. Even if he woke up early, he wouldn't be there by the time the museum closed. Melissa's friend whose feet Klein... Wait, that's her? Oh, I did not know that was her. I just knew, like, the travel columnist or whatever. I did not... Oh. She slowly got out of bed and walked to the door. During this process, she saw the room. Monica almost screamed. Oh, sorry. I just have a random playlist going. I didn't actually have a plan right now. All right. I ain't doing that. Wait, when does your music start? I gotta hold on. When does the music that you sent start? 13:55 in the ancient palace above the fog. Okay, cool. My keyboard does sound nice. You are right. I do like my keyboard. And I got it for such a good... Yeah, but Devil, I have the second mover advantage, bro. Monica then looked around the room. She almost screamed. This wasn't the room she had slept in. Regardless of the layout or the arrangement, everything was different. The ghost stories that she thought of earlier surged into her mind, causing her legs to give way. Just as Monica felt her teeth chattering, she saw a hotel name card on the table. It was prepared for guests. Monica approached it and identified the words on the card. Carl Pensa Hotel, Westboro, 19 Morning Street. Are you gonna make a collab with the other? If someone wants to, sure. I'm not opposed to it. But, yeah. I assume most of the Lord of the Mysteries... I don't know about streamers, because streamers are like... I assume most of them are just starting out, right? Like, I did want to reach out to... I don't know if this is even going to be possible, or if you'd even be interested in the slightest. But I wanted to reach out to... Excuse me? What was that? I wanted to reach out to Lumion Central and see if he'd be up for kind of like a podcast or something. Like talking about the history of the third, the fourth epoch, the powers and all that. Like I feel like that'd be so cool. Um, or I don't know if we should do that after I finish COI. I don't fucking know. Um, After learning of the apocalypse, wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. I just scrolled down a shit ton. Backlot, Helstonborough. Forrest heard the windows and doors open, but she didn't wake up. Because she was having a dream that her teacher had been influenced by the family's sealed artifacts dying in front of her. She dreamed that she had lost control and mutated, turning into a series of starlight insects that warped into the shape of doors. She couldn't help but fly towards the door of flesh and blood. She dreamed that the apocalypse had dawned and that the surging blood-colored tide had drowned the entire world. Finally, Forrest escaped the dream and sat up panting heavily. Sorry, yeah. This is not good music at all for this. Sorry, Kami. She dreamed that the apocalypse had dawned and that the surging blood-colored tide had drowned the entire world. Finally, Forrest woke up. As a demigod who had once been an astrologer, she knew what such a dream meant. She then looked outside. The glass on the oriel window all bore open. Something must have happened. It must have a relationship with the apocalypse, the family, and the apprentice pathway. Forrest muttered to herself as she wore a cloak, preparing to teleport to her teacher. Such a change made her feel a sense of urgency towards advancing to Sequence 3, or even Sequence 2. After learning about the apocalypse from Mr. Fool in the World, Forrest had actually been working hard, but the secret sorcerer potion wasn't something she could digest quickly. Furthermore, without any contributions, she couldn't bring herself to ask her teacher for the Wanderer potion formula. Of course, if she was willing, she could have obtained it from Mr. Dorr. How could she have been bewitched after receiving all kinds of reminders? Phasing away, Forrest vanished from the room. A few seconds later, she appeared at Dorian Abraham Gray's residence. She saw the teacher sitting there, pressing his hand on his heart. "Do you need medicine?" she asked. "No, there's no need." "Teacher, I dreamt that you were affected by the negative effects of an artifact. The windows and doors around me had gone an unnecessary change, so I came to look." "Your dream wasn't wrong. I nearly died, but just now, at a critical moment, the seal came into effect." Quick, bring me somewhere else. I'm worried that something might happen to the other family members." Forrest immediately grabbed her teacher's arm and asked for the exact location. Their figures faded away. After traveling through the spirit world, Dorian and Forrest suddenly felt their present environment and landed in a place that looked like a study. There were quite a number of people standing around, members of the Abraham family who wielded different artifacts and could travel. "Velosh, why are you here?" Dorian asked. Velosh and the others shook their head at the same time, both confused and terrified. In the next second, countless dazzling stars appeared out of the void. The starlight quickly gathered together, turning into objects that fell into the ground one after another. There was a miniature door of starlight, a crystal ball formed from insects, a translucent, strange-looking key, a resplendent torch that burned slightly. For some reason, names appeared one after another in Dorian and Company's mind. Sequence 3, Wanderer characteristic. Sequence 4, Secret Sorcerer characteristic. Sequence 1, Key of Stars characteristic. Sequence 2, Planeswalker characteristic. Furthermore, it wasn't just one of each characteristic. There were even 2 Sequence 1 Key of Stars characteristics. In addition, 3 Planeswalker characteristics and even more. Everyone turned agape, unable to close their eyes. By the time all the characteristics dropped to the ground, nothing happened. There was silence. Where did all these characteristics come from? Excuse me, Zaza? What the fuck did you just say to me? So basically, Amon gave all the characteristics that he didn't need and just gave it to the Abraham family. He was like, eh. He was like, I guess I did kind of kill one of your guys here. Take a little. Ramiro, fuck off, okay? The nearly frozen silence lasted for nearly 10 seconds before everyone looked at Forrest. After sensing the mixed emotions and wariness, Forrest took the initiative to step to the side. Be careful of the negative effects, she said. Even if the Meander characteristics hadn't fused with the surroundings and formed an artifact, they contained negative effects. However, most of the time, it would only have effects from direct contact. Of course, the characteristics here were all high sequencer characteristics. No one could be certain if they could actively expand their area of influence. He has the uniqueness, no? And one characteristic, because it said 2 Planeswalker character or 2 Key of Stars characteristic. Seeing that Forrest didn't show any obvious greed, Dorian nodded. When you finish digesting your secret sorcerer potion, you can consider advancing to sequence 3. I will give you the formula and prepare the ingredients. Of course, at this level, the higher the sequence, the greater the the danger you face. This is an objective situation. It doesn't change because of your personal will and arrangements. When the time comes, you can decide whether you wish to advance or not. He said these words because he cared for his student, and on the other hand, he wanted to assure her that whatever the Abraham family possessed was equivalent to her possessing it. No one would treat her as an outsider, and make it difficult for her to raise her sequence. That's kind of nice. So, because there's no God of the Door pathway, it's possible for Forrest to become all the way up until a sequence 1. She can't be a god unless, I guess, they kill him on, but good luck on that happening. This would effectively eliminate the heat brought about by greed. After obtaining so many characteristics, Velosh and the other members of the family were unwilling to part with a Wanderer characteristic. They even believed that they would be able to exchange it for peace. After all, there's only one demigod here, Fours. Without the time to bring out their Grade 0 artifact, and because of their ineffectiveness of the seals, and the Abraham family didn't dare take out most of the Grade 1 artifacts, under such a situation, Fours had the ability to kill all of them. I guess she could be a King of Angels because she could have 2 characteristics, which would make her a King of Angels. True. Faced with her teacher's promise, Fours tersely acknowledged. Was the door to the concealed space open? She thought that the high sequence characteristics in front of her were all from the family treasure vault that had been thrown into the real world due to an anomaly. But she felt that there was too many. No, Dorian said, looking confused. All the other family members also remained silent, equally confused. No one would believe that such a treasure trove would fall in front of them. Should we pray to Mr. Fool? Forrest asked. Dorian, who had a vague guess, nodded. He saw the ones who had changed their fates to Mr. Fool nod. Those who hadn't were clearly hesitant. After some deliberation, Dorian said, gather the ones with negative AoE effects with the correct method. Prevent them from combining with the surroundings. I'll pray to Mr. Fool. Okay, a few members said. Following that, they seized the opportunity to identify the characteristics and gather them. After some of the members had obtained a certain amount, Dorian retreated and bowed his head to pray to Mr. Fool. Soon, a grayish-white fog and a deep palace appeared in front of him. These are the relics of Mr. Door. Your bloodline curse has been removed. Relics of Mr. Door? Dorian ruminated over the words as he opened his eyes. He looked ahead silently as his vision blurred. I love how Mr. Fool is like, I have killed your progenitor. These are goodwill gestures. Good luck. Eastchester City. The Hall, Family Manor. Alfred and the others, who had just figured out the source of the explosion, the enemy attack, saw the door and windows open at the same time as they crashed into the walls. During this process, several pieces of glass shattered. This is something abnormal indeed. Alfred raised his hand with a solemn expression. He said to his adjutant, squire, personal bodyguards, and bodyguards, retreat back to the main house to prevent any accidents. At the same time, send a telegram to the Archbishop of the Eastchester Diocese and ask for assistance. He felt the most important thing right now was to not investigate the anomaly, but to protect his family. He had plenty of time to do the former after daybreak. After returning to the manor's main house, he arranged for strict protocols. Alfred walked into the living room and said to Earl Hall, this was indeed something abnormal, but the guard couldn't describe what he saw. He only felt extreme fear at that moment. Earl Hall nodded and said, we'll investigate after daybreak. Sit down and get some rest. Beside him, Audrey was holding her arm as she listened quietly to her father and two brothers. Of course, this was only an image. She had been continuously releasing virtual personas in an attempt to find the reason for the sudden opening of doors and windows. Sid, how's it going? Have I seen you here before? Have I seen another Sid with the same name? Because I feel like I know that name, but I don't know their profile pic. Maybe you just changed your profile pic. I don't know. I smell a thick scent of blood. Oh, you did? Oh, okay, you just changed your profile pic? Okay. No, I remember Seer. Sid the Sloth. What did you discover? Audrey asked. No, wait, hold on. After returning to the manor and arranging for some strict protocols, Alfred walked into the living room and said to his father, there was indeed something abnormal, but the guards can't describe it. We'll do further investigations after daybreak, Earl Hall said. Get some rest. Sitting beside him was Audrey. Of course, this was only an image. Nobody read. I read all of this. After a few minutes, she ended the investigation and was somewhat disappointed. For the time being, she temporarily attributed it to the influence left behind by Arihog and Mr. Wrath. At the same time, she realized that the golden retriever Susie had a strange look in her eyes. She sent out a virtual persona and entered the mind island of Susie to have a private conversation. Alright, bye Nagito! On Susie's mind island, a voice resounded. I smell a thick scent of blood at the edge of the manor. It happened sometime before the doors and windows opened. After hearing that, Audrey pursed her lips and said, go take a look. Susie immediately stood up and walked out of the room, left the manor's main door. During this process, there would be people looking at her from time to time, but they didn't mind her and didn't stop her. A dog who had mastered psychological invisibility. That's crazy work. A dog is already kind of invisible because like no one pays them much mind like as they're walking around or whatever, but then to add invisibility on that is crazy. After walking the open path to the furthest building from the manor's main house, Susie twitched her nose and chose an open window before jumping in. She saw a bloody corpse on the bed. Its skin had shed, but what she saw was equivalent to Audrey not seeing it through a virtual persona. Audrey seeing it through a virtual persona, rather. In the living room inside the main house of the manor, Audrey was holding her mother's arm, lowered her head. She then lifted her head and saw her eyes swept slowly across her family's face. She maintained her silence, becoming increasingly silent. Bayam, inside the Cathedral of Waves, Alger, who was wearing a hooded robe embroidered with the storm symbol, walked out from the underground area, one step at a time. The seals are returned to normal were restored to normal in time. You may return the items under your watch. Yes, Your Eminence, the Punisher said. Alger didn't say anything else as he responded with a salute. After returning to the room, he looked around. The fool that doesn't belong to this era, he silently prayed. preparing to leave the Church of Storm. The explanation that the seal was restored to normal in time could only convince low-level members of the church. It was impossible to hide it from cardinals or deacons. And if he didn't get Mr. Fool's approval and protection, Alger didn't dare leave the church right now, afraid to suffer the wrath of a god. A few seconds later, he heard a familiar boundless fog and heard, "Okay, go to the Church of the Sea God." Alger relaxed, took off his storm robe, changed into a linen shirt. He looked at the cardinal robe on the table and fell silent. He then reached out and folded the robe. After carefully examining it, he retracted his gaze and flew out the cathedral. He first flew over to the bell tower and landed on top. During this process, Alger stepped on the edge of the roof and circled it. He closed his eyes as a hurricane stirred as it swept towards Alger, towards the Church of the Sea God. So wait, Alger is no longer part of the church. Is Alger going to really leave the church? Or the church is really going to kick him out? In the ancient palace above the fog, Klein sat at the chair of the fool, his figure occasionally turning incorporeal as though he was wearing a mysterious, classical black robe. During such instances, he wore a hood that made his fate indiscernible. At other times, he would return to normal. Got it. His figure would occasionally turn incorporeal, as though he was wearing a mysterious and classical black robe. During such instances, he wore a hood that made his face indiscernible. At other times, he would return to normal. However, he was enveloped in a faint grey fog. And every time Klein transformed into a hooded black robe, into the black-robed hooded figure, slippery tentacles with strange patterns would extend out from under his clothes. These nearly transparent tentacles flailed about, striking at everything. After a while, Klein's figure stabilized. Out of habit, he raised his right hand and rubbed his temples. The awakening of the celestial worthy's will is faster than I expected. If I hadn't devoured Zaratul's characteristic and used a remnant mental imprint to balance it out, I wouldn't have been able to adjust my mental state and stop his reawakening. This made Klein's mental state quite unstable. As he didn't lose control because of his miracle invoker potion, he had already been digested, and the new attendant of mysteries characteristic he consumed was mostly digested after consumption. The identity of Mr. World was a blessed of the owner of Sephira Castle, making it directly equivalent to the attendant of mysteries. Therefore, Klein had acted out as the role for a long time, having been quite successful. As for the second characteristic, it still needed some time to digest. Klein is actually so he has two characteristics, which inadvertently makes him King of Angels anyway. So he's a King of Angels, but with the blessing of Sephira Castle, he is a King of Angels. He is like Sasrier, like the Deputy of the Heaven, or whatever the fuck was his title. My god, we're really in the endgame now. Ah, why can't I type? After stabilizing his anchors, the will of the celestial worthy, and the weak balance of his consciousness, Klein leaned back into his chair and observed the various powers brought about by the attendant of mysteries characteristic. Among them, there were three most important ones. They were all grasped by Klein using Sephira Castle and the curtain ahead of time, but he just didn't know the names. First was regenerate. If the materials that made up an item once had a spirit body, the attendant of mysteries could use the powers of regenerate to summon the corresponding spirit body threads, making the item his marionette. He could then establish a deep connection with the item and transform it into a marionette. So like he could if he could go near the ashes of Saint. Wait, okay. Could Klein summon Saint Selena's ashes out of the historical void, and then use this regenerate to regenerate the spirit body threads of Saint Selena, and then get Saint Selena as a marionette? Is this right? To put it simply, an attendant of mysteries couldn't allow something that didn't have a spirit body threads to produce spirit body threads, but he could allow some items to regenerate their threads that had long disappeared. The former represented a metallic object, gold coins, gold pounds, and so forth. The latter mainly consisted of beef, fish, and other food. Once humans ate the food that were marionettes, they would also transform into marionettes, as though they had encountered an intense corruption. Hey, you want to eat this lovely dinner I prepared for you? Come on, we're just talking, buddy. Come on. What I would try to poison you? Listen, I'll take a bite of your food, no issues. Whatever, I'll take a bite of both of them, no problem, you know? Like oh god, his ass! The second was reassembly, which was also known as tampering. It could reassemble many physical objects or abstract concepts into something different, resulting in an unbelievable effect, like the changing of definition, logic, orientation, or rules. This motherfucker can just... Are you telling me this motherfucker can just change abstract concepts? That's where we're at right now? That's where we're at. He can just change abstract concepts. The third was Realm of Mysteries, an ability to create an embryonic form of a divine kingdom. It could bring about certain concealment effects. What the fuck is even this? Reassembly represents the authority of change. Realm of Mysteries represents concealment. The two essentially elements of the Fool's symbols are in place. But reassembly and tampering doesn't sound nice. Grafting is still better. What the fuck? He can reassemble, like, concepts of the universe. This is such... What the... Bro, this motherfucker used to be able to use a little topaz pendant to say true or false. And he can reassemble the molecules of the fucking universe? Excuse me? Now that he had deepened his control of Sephira Castle, he could directly borrow the powers nearing Sequence 0 of the Seer pathway. He could also use most of the Beyonder powers from below Sequence 0 of the Marauder and Apprentice pathway, quite similar to Sasrier back then. Of course, Sasrier could only use the first Blasphemy Slate to directly use the powers of the Chaos Sea. As for Klein, he was the owner of Sephira Castle, one that hadn't gained full control of the Sephira, therefore his level was higher than Sasrier. This motherfucker unironically just said, I am stronger than Sasrier. That's crazy work. As for the strength in theory, he was stronger, but his strength was affected by too many things. Having only become a Beyonder in the last couple of years, Klein couldn't guarantee he would be able to defeat Heaven's Deputy. That's crazy. Sorry, I just read Romero's comment. I just needed to take a second to internalize that. Yeah, that's fine. That's no problem. After gaining a deeper control of Sephira Castle, the difference between me and here and the outside world is basically negligible. It wouldn't result in me being a king of angels outside, but having the powers of a true god in Sephira Castle. The greatest advantage here is it provides me a defensive barrier that even a true god can't break. Whether outer deities can remains to be seen. There are two things he was most worried about. Think of it like cut and paste, yeah. The first was Primordial Moon, which was also the mother goddess of depravity. Although she failed to fully descend into the real world, a little portion of her strength had invaded the world through Mr. Door. Furthermore, she maintained it for more than a few seconds under the attack of 5 orthodox deities. Whether this would affect the surroundings and the corresponding pathways remained to be seen. Second, Angel of Time, Amon, had stolen Mr. Door's ritual and become a Sequence 0 of the Marauder pathway. I wonder if Amon has taken the opportunity to accommodate Mr. Door's uniqueness and sequence one characteristic. If he has completed this, he will be the most powerful true god in the real world. Oh, he says the real world because he's like descendant or because he's like in the world. Okay. I wonder how he compares to the goddess. No one knows how much of the death and the combat uniqueness the goddess has accommodated. Typically speaking, Amon shouldn't have the time to accommodate the apprentice pathway uniqueness, although Mr. Door's return is equivalent to the ritual itself. The most important matter at the time was to replace Mr. Door, allowing the three characteristics and the uniqueness to gather together, resulting in a qualitative change. Mr. Door was getting jumped by 5. No. Varshan, I made that joke. I was like, there's 4 gods dropping down to fight Mr. Door, and the god of knowledge is like, you know what? Just in case. There's no need to accommodate the uniqueness of the apprentice pathway. Also, this operation has a high chance of awakening the celestial worthy. Amon wouldn't take such a risk. In other words, Amon's subsequent focus was to accommodate the uniqueness of the apprentice pathway and become a true god of 2 pathways. Otherwise, under the watch of the other deities, it'll be difficult for him to finish off a king of angels like me. Basically, Klein is saying, like, listen, he would be able to win, but, like, I'd be able to hold out enough until other deities came to save my ass. Furthermore, even if he does take the risk and succeeds, him having accommodated the apprentice pathway uniqueness means that he has to slowly adapt and stabilize his condition. I have to make use of this time to become the fool. Only by doing so can I use Sephira Castle to resist Amon. I don't have time. Klein smiled. He leaned forward as he tapped the table, analyzing the possibility of him becoming the fool quickly. The digestion of the Attendant of Mysteries characteristic was simple. By the time Klein used his anchor and consciousness to suppress the awakening of the celestial worthy and not lose control, he could use Sephira Castle to create an avatar like Amon, and then use the powers of Sephira Castle to steal the undigested Attendant of Mysteries characteristic he got from Zaratul. At this point, Klein would turn the avatar into a marionette to prevent any unexpected developments. This way, Klein would drop to the level of an Attendant of Mysteries who had fully digested the potion, and would have an Attendant of Mysteries marionette. This was one of the main ingredients of the potion. And the Attendant of Mysteries who had digested the potion was qualified to become the Fool's Potion and become a Sequence 0 true god. So Klein's going to take one of his own characteristics away so that he's fully digested the one that he does have. These series of operations weren't too complicated, but it was prone to making oh, I see, okay. But it was prone to mistakes. Furthermore, an ordinary dual Sequence 1 King of Angels from the Seer pathway couldn't do it unless they have a Sequence 2 Trojan Horse of Destiny friend who is willing to sacrifice themselves or provide help. Of course, a Worm of Time could also do it. Therefore, but we do have a Sequence 2, a Trojan Horse of Destiny friend. Therefore, to Klein, the most troublesome thing was the other 2 matters. First, how to deal with the half-fool of the indigenous family, and how to secretly complete the ritual of fooling time, or history. With my current level and strength, it shouldn't be impossible to deal with the indigenous family ancestor. Of course, the prerequisite is that I familiarize myself with the powers and changes in Sephira Castle. I don't have any idea how to even approach the Fool's Ritual. Among time, history, and fate, he was undoubtedly more familiar with history. He could use Sephira Castle to influence the fog of history, allowing the corresponding powers of the Seer pathway to become stronger or weaker. I pity the half-fool we gotta fight. I know. He's like, hey, so I hear you were the strongest of our pathway. Good for you. Good for you. You ain't shit, though. Fooling history. In his opinion, all the possible solutions didn't satisfy the requirements of fooling history. This is because history was objectively recorded what had happened. Whatever happened was reasonable, and the solutions that could satisfy the requirements, such as returning to the past, consuming the potion, and becoming the fool from history, wasn't able to achieve it. At the very least, Klein had never seen the ability to reverse time. But can't he? Can't he graft his present fate onto the past, making him the fool of the past? Am I crazy? The present reality of history was this. The Tarot Club members believed that they were following the fool that didn't belong to this era. An awakened ancient... The fool that doesn't belong to this era. He's gonna fool history. And then... everything... yeah, it all comes true. Okay, an awakened ancient god or existence that surpassed an ancient god. In fact, Mr. Fool was just an ordinary person hanging above the grey fog. Klein's thoughts were inspired by Amon. He could use Sephra Castle to create an avatar, and let the avatar use Sephra Castle to steal the fate, consciousness, and anchors and Zaratul's Sequence 1 characteristic. Therefore, the main body's characteristic was formed purely from the one inside the curtain, in which the celestial worthy of heaven and earth was slowly awakening. This way, the understanding of the Tarot Club members was correct. Mr. Fool was a great existence that was awakening. This went against the true history, but was in fact rooted in reality. It could fulfill the requirements of the ritual. Of course, the premise was that the act of stealing an avatar needed to happen in Sephra Castle, or other concealed areas, or it would be recorded in history. As for how he was to deal with the celestial worthy of heaven and earth when he awakened, and how his avatar was to kill his true form and make him a potion, Klein didn't have an idea. The result of the attempt was equivalent to suicide. After being killed by the celestial worthy, my avatar's attendant of mysteries characteristic would be digested. After all, I have successfully revived the Lord of Mysteries. Under the circumstances where he couldn't think of a solution, Klein decided to seek advice from the two existents he knew that might have an idea: Will Ossepton and the Goddess. The former might have some thoughts about fooling fate, while the latter would presumably know what kind of ritual the ancestor of the Antigonus family was attempting to do to accommodate the fool's uniqueness. After stabilizing his mental state, Klein teleported to Backland. 1357 meeting. Oh, are we gonna get a face-to-face meeting with the goddess? Because now we're like, hey, listen, I'm not technically a god, but like, bitch, I'm close, okay? Yep, Kami, got it, no problem. Got it, Kami, I got it, motherfucker. God damn. Ah, so much music, ah! Next one, end of 1357. Okay. Pulling of... No, Will isn't fate. He's close, but he ain't fate. Wait, hold on, I just got an email from YouTube. What is it? Ah, fuck you. Deep in the forsaken land of the gods, on the peak of the mountain stood a gigantic cross that bordered the realm of reality and illusion. There was a blurry figure hanging there, ancient wooden stakes dyed with fresh blood, nailing him to the cross. At the bottom of the cross was Ouroboros, wearing a simple white robe and white hair that reached his waist. He sat there, cross-legged, with a gentle, pious expression as he prayed. Adam, whose face was covered with a pale blonde beard, walked over and stopped in front of the huge cross. He held Eridus in one hand and held the blasphemy slate in the other. His eyes were limpid and his expression calm. After an unknown period of time, the image of the hanged man on the cross suddenly faded, connecting to the sky and the world below. Behind the curtain, there seemed to be a pair of cold eyes watching the world. In the next second, a rift appeared in the shadow curtain. It was dark inside. Adam raised his left hand and left the ancient, mysterious magic mirror emit a faint glow. What are they doing to my boy? What are they doing to my poor boy? In the light, a sticky but illusory black liquid surged out. A boundless sea that seemed to contain all colors appeared. Following that, Adam placed the second blasphemy slate into the illusory scene. The illusory sea scene in the distance embedded gently as it circled the second blasphemy slate, forming a connection. The second blasphemy slate was a manifestation of the corpse of the ASG. one which was extremely close to being a great old one. Remember Eridus' origins? Yes? No, I have no idea. In the second... Oh, wait, hold on. In the light that appeared, a sticky but illusory black liquid surged out, a boundless sea that seemed to contain all colors. The second blasphemy... Nope, already read this. Upon seeing this scene, Adam's left hand moved slightly, allowing Eridus to fly up towards Ouroboros. The second blasphemy slate that he held underwent some subtle changes, as though the rift of the curtain... on the curtain, he walked inside. The shadow curtain closed and quickly faded away, leaving behind an empty cross. At the same time, Amon became a god. Wait, what? No one said a word throughout the entire process. Everything was carried out silently. Ouroboros didn't even attempt to open his eyes. At the same time, Amon had become a god, using the first blasphemy slate to block the tunnel that the mother goddess of depravity was trying to enter through. The Lord of Storm finally smote apart the corpse cathedral that Adam had envisioned out of nothingness, one of Adam's identities. After a while, Ouroboros opened his eyes and looked at Eridus, which had landed on his lap. On the surface of the mirror, words appeared. You should know the feeling of piously believing and praying and following a great existence, right? Ouroboros nodded. So can you send me back to my lord? On the surface of the mirror, 2 silver words squirmed. Once you answer, you can ask me 2 questions. Ouroboros looked silently at the mirror for a long time. Finally, Eridus couldn't help but ask another question. Why aren't you answering? Ouroboros looked at him and said, I haven't thought it through. 3 questions, Eridus said. In Backland, on a lawn that belonged to a bungalow, Will Ossepton, who was already over 2 years old, was happily chasing a fat golden cat. Ever since this sneak of fate was born, Aaron Sirius's career had improved by the day. He now owned a private hotel that provided medical care to high society. What? What do you think of this scene? I don't fucking know. They're trying to use they're trying to use Eridus for something with the Chaos Sea, I think. I don't know what beyond that, dude. I got no fucking clues. I know, that was cute, actually, because he's like, you know what it's like. Please send me back to my lord. As he ran, Will Ossepton stepped on a spot that was slippery. With a slip, his body leaned back. He then took a few steps back and landed on another rock. This provided an impetus to stop Will's fall, miraculously allowing him to maintain his balance. Miraculously. Came to be a drop of liquid splashed on a rock. So Eridus is like part of the Chaos Sea? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Like a piece, like a little splash from the Chaos Sea landed on a rock making Eridus? Huh? Is that what I'm getting? Am I dumb? Will Ossepton turned his head abruptly to look at his nanny and maid as he saw a familiar figure appear in front of his eyes, Sherlock Moriarty. He discovered that they had noticed the appearance of the stranger. I had a nagging feeling you would say, go ahead and scream, no one will hear you. No, sorry, wait, sorry. Wait, what? I'm sorry. How could I let that happen? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I had a nagging feeling you would say, go ahead and scream, no one will hear you, the toddler mumbled. Without waiting for Klein's reply, he spread open his arms and said, "In short, I must congratulate you for becoming a king of angels. Bullying children doesn't suit your current status." Do you know how to fool fate? Will Ossipton raised his head to look warily at Klein. "Giving me fake ice cream isn't equivalent to fooling fate." With that said, he grumbled, "Why don't you squat down? At my age, it is bad for my neck's development if I keep looking up." Klein didn't have the air of the newly advanced king of angels. He squatted down and smiled, looking Will Ossipton right in his eye. Will held his nanny's hand and said, "Unless I've advanced to sequence 0 and become a wheel of fortune. Fooling me does not constitute fooling fate." "You haven't found the opportunity to accommodate the die of probability yet?" Solovkun, bro, what? Thank you so much, but dude, you really didn't have to. Oh my god. Damn. Oh god. Damn. He has 10,000 XP. What is this world? Bro. Dude, you really didn't have. Oh my god. Fucking love you, dude. Oh my god. Thank you. Bye, buddy. Oh god. I'm sorry, I'm just at a loss for words. I don't have anything. Oh, fuck me. Oh my god. Ramiro, none of this is even going to me, bro. I'm just using this to pay for editors. This is literally all the time, but what the, like, not like I'm complaining. What the fuck? Oh, Ramiro, I'll check that out later. Hold on. Oh, god. Yeah. Hold on. Where was I? No, like, I'm gonna pay for a lot of videos, obviously. Like, that alone will pay for, like, a lot of videos. A lot of videos. Klein thought and asked, "You haven't found the opportunity to accommodate the die of probability?" No, Will Ossipton shook his head. "I have a premonition that it is coming soon." Klein looked at the chubby 2-year-old in front of him and smiled. If I were to give you the die of probability to Ouroboros, would he quickly advance to sequence 0? He will also need to wait for the opportunity to accommodate it. Furthermore, the opportunity to become a Wheel of Fortune and the requirement to accommodate it isn't the same. Varshan, wait. YouTube, Varshan, it's about, I think it's 30% that YouTube takes. Which is infuriating, of course. But, I don't know. Maybe there's a different way to go about doing it. I don't know. Because of the voice. Patreon? Yeah. Maybe. Will Ossipton glared at, no, hold on. If you wish to accommodate the fool's uniqueness, the corresponding ritual can be simplified. It won't be that difficult. In such a situation, by ingeniously using the abilities of a Trojan horse of destiny and making a sacrifice to a certain degree, there's a chance of fooling fate. However, when you advance to sequence 0, even if you accommodate the uniqueness and absorb the 3 characteristics, I would do it for the whole thing, but it's hurting my voice a lot. And absorb the 3 characteristics on separate occasions, we'll have to hold a ritual for all the corresponding items to finally fuse together. Is that so? Choosing to first accommodate the uniqueness isn't a trick, but in the end I have to fool time and history. I understand, Klein said. Enjoy your childhood. I wonder how long it will last. With that said, Klein's figure turned transparent and vanished from the lawn. Will Ossipton's other empty... change music when Klein prays. Okay. Will Ossipton's other empty hand instinctively grabbed forward before retracting it weakly. He left just like that. He's so rude. He didn't even prepare a present for a child. Northborough in Backland, St. Samuel Cathedral. Klein, who had transformed into Dwayne Dantes, walked into the prayer hall and found a corner to sit on. He prayed to the Evernight's symbol on the altar. Yes, now change music. I got it. Don't yell at me. I don't like it. Expedition 33. Oh, good choice. Did I finish the game? Fuck no. But it had good music. He looked at the sacred symbol of the Evernight and lowered his head. The Evernight goddess, who stands higher than the cosmos, more eternal than eternity, the mother of concealment, the empress of horror and misfortune. As he prayed, Klein's body and mind settled down as he had entered a half-awakened state. After an unknown period of time, a boundless darkness appeared in front of him. Besides his feet was a clump of night vanilla. Is he going to speak to the goddess one-on-one? Before Klein could survey his surroundings, a figure descended from the depths of the cosmos. There was no sky, no land here, but a figure seemed to come from the crimson moon or the stars. She was wearing a long, layered black dress that didn't seem complicated at all, adorned with countless resplendent lights as though the starry night sky had been draped over it. Her head was indistinct and difficult to discern. He could only confirm that it was a female. "Long time no see," the figure said, before Klein spoke. Her voice was like a lullaby. Klein bowed in a gentlemanly manner. "Is this directed at the former Lord of Mysteries, or me, the one previously hung above Sephira Castle?" Klein was certain it was a dream, but a dream didn't mean it was fake. The Evernight goddess's projection smiled. "I'm not sure where you were hanging above that door of light. After I left, I never went back again." I am really sorry, that was probably really loud, but fuck it, shit! Oh, we got it! Let's go! Fucking called it! Oh my fucking god, I called it so hard. I called it so long ago. Okay. Indeed, Klein sighed inwardly, confirming the origins of the goddess. The 3 cocoons of light that tore open were side by side, he said. She said softly, "The people." There were all candidates meant for Lord of the Mysteries revival, but due to some unknown incident, he lost control of many things. If it wasn't for that, I would have died long ago and lived with the identity of Lord of the Mysteries. Then you and Roselle wouldn't have had the opportunity to return to reality. This means the death of the celestial worthy is more thorough. He can only rely on the will left inside the characteristics and mechanical arrangements of Sephra Castle to awaken. I can already hear him whispering into my ears. He smiled. Oh, so let me take away Willy. What the fuck? So serious, and Willy's on the fucking screen. Yeah, Pushkar. Okay, maybe it's time to start Oh my god, damn. God damn, are you fucking kidding me? What is he on? If this is gonna happen, then let me. After stream, I'll make a Patreon if any of you are so inclined. Just that way, because YouTube takes a third, which is such a bitch. So okay, well, I'll make it after stream, but fuck it. Okay. The Evernight goddess's projection calmly said, "For him or them, we are unable to defeat or stop them. All we can do is resist and suppress them." Perhaps at certain times, a tiny oversight or relaxing, even the slightest, will turn us into him. On the path of being a beyonder, a danger always accompanies us. No one knows when we'll fall into the abyss. He thought for a moment and asked, "Did you cause some of the disturbances when I was born?" I used the uniqueness in Antigonus to indirectly affect Sephra Castle, to tamper the characteristic that accompanied your birth to the forsaken land of the gods. No, Dr. Z, I'll stream exactly as it is. I just mean, like, if someone wants to donate in particular, if they do it through Patreon, it just means I get more of a everything remains the same for you guys. Yeah, no, Pushkar, we'll definitely do that. The curtain. So why did the curtain accompany his birth? What does that mean? Like the curtain dropped with him? The curtain was like a gift from the Lord of Mysteries to say, like, hey, I want you to rise up the ranks quickly so that you can become... so that I can take over so that I can revive quickly? Is that it? The goddess's projection gently indeed, the uniqueness of the Antigonus family, the uniqueness of Antigonus can influence Sephra Castle. He has lost control. This also means that his self-awareness is no longer able to suppress the Lord of Mystery's will in him. Should reread chapter 1 after the opening after this chapter? Oh, okay, maybe we can do that, Klein man. The two psyches are stitched together, revealing the most primitive, most instinctual, and most bloody and crazy side. And the Lord of Mysteries is the former owner of Sephra Castle. The present Antigonus can indirectly influence Sephra Castle by using his identity naturally. Oh, I see. Oh, so he's also trying to revive an Antigonus. I see. It's no wonder why the goddess has a greater understanding of the strange door of light than Roselle. On the one hand, she was born from Sephra Castle. On the other, she has imprisoned Antigonus. Why didn't you have any characteristics accompanying you and Roselle when you two were born? In that case, be it the goddess or Roselle, they definitely should have been chosen by one of the seer, apprentice, or marauder pathways. The goddess said, "This is also why I said that some unknown things had happened to the Lord of Mysteries, causing many prior arrangements to fall out of control. After 2 consecutive failures, Sephra Castle experienced a change. This is good for you. As the apocalypse arrives, the remnant will of the Lord of Mysteries has dissipated. In the end, all that's left is a mental imprint trying to awaken. If you were born in the Fourth Epoch, you would have become him the moment you became an attendant of mysteries. But isn't the mental imprint the same as like his will? Why does it say like the two are different? This was because Klein had used the curtain left behind by the Celestial Worthy during his advancement. As for the characteristic in the bodies of Antigonus and Zaratul, they had undergone generations of Beyonders and creatures diluting and wearing off the will. Klein had a nagging feeling that the goddess had some guesses about what had happened to the Celestial Worthy, but since she didn't deliberately mention it, it wasn't appropriate for him to probe. All he could say was, how did Antigonus manage to accommodate the fool's uniqueness? He sought the help of Amon and Adam. They were supporting Alista Tudor back then. Using the abilities of a Trojan horse of destiny, Klein guessed? The Evernight goddess's projection was like the starry sky of this night, quietly comforting her surroundings. Then, with Amon and Antigonus, he stole the Antigonus' identity and fate, while Antigonus used the tampering authority that combined the identity and fate with experimental subjects. That demigod from the Solomon Empire began to live in the state of Antigonus, and after some time, he took the initiative to accommodate the uniqueness. Did I? Oh, I see. Oh, sorry. They captured a demigod from the Solomon Empire and got Adam to do a deep level of hypnotism, act, and an imprint of the corresponding memory, making him believe that he was Antigonus. Oh, so he believed he was Antigonus, he accommodated the uniqueness, and then they tried to graft the fate of having the uniqueness accommodated onto Antigonus, but keeping the craziness to him. Oh, I see. Okay. He undoubtedly lost control. At that moment, the real Antigonus removed the tampering, allowing his identity and fate to return into Amon's hand. Amon ended the theft and returned them to the original. He gave him the accommodated uniqueness, but said, "You keep the, listen. I get the uniqueness, you get the craziness. Fair deal. 1 for 1. You know, I get 1, you get 1, everybody gets 1. We're fine. Okay, no problem." Zaza, I don't know, maybe. Klein listened attentively as he thought, if that's the case, it's equivalent to Antigonus failing to accommodate the uniqueness and turning into a monster, and a perfectly well Antigonus with no problems at all. Therefore, he had fooled fate to an extent. But aren't there any problems with this? It is very risky, the goddess said. Fate isn't easy to bear. If one can't retrieve the fate from the target quickly, while he's losing control, things will fail. Retrieving it in a second earlier will not achieve the effect of the ritual. Retrieving it a second late will leave to Antigonus shouldering the fate of losing control, and inevitably ending up the same. That's right, one has to naturally bear the burden of troubles brought about by fate. If not for that, Amon would have long stolen my fate and swaggered into Sephira Castle. Swaggered? What are you, 85 years old, bro? It was difficult to complete a normal ritual with the urgency of the matter. Using a simplified ritual to accommodate the fool's uniqueness was the best option. Once I become the half-fool, my control over Sephira Castle will improve. My strength and level will at least reach the level of a true god. At least? This way, even if I face a dual pathway god like Amon, I should be able to protect myself and wait for reinforcements if I can't match him. He planned on using the goddess's help to suppress the Antigonus family ancestor and use Sephira Castle to steal his identity and self-awareness. This way, his body would have his own consciousness, the will of the Celestial Worthy, Antigonus' ancestors' self-awareness, as well as the anchors from the new City of Silver and Moon City and Rorstad Archipelago. He would also become Antigonus to a certain extent and accept his fate of losing control. The reason why Antigonus went mad was that his self-awareness could no longer suppress the awakening Celestial Worthy. The two became stitched together. When his self-awareness reached Klein's body, he would undoubtedly repeat the same process. This is because the Celestial Worthy's will in Klein's body was no less than the one in his actual body. In other words, the fate of losing control and madness was inevitable. Klein believed there wouldn't be any additional burden while bearing it. At the same time, with him having more anchors than Antigonus, his own consciousness could remain center stage in a harmonious state of maintaining a sliver of rationality. So basically he's saying, I'm gonna go crazy, but like I should be able to tank it and kind of remain okay? In such a state, he would have to use the identity of this Antigonus family ancestor to accommodate the full uniqueness, and in the corresponding fate, this was something he had long accommodated, so it wouldn't bring about further repercussions. Hence, he had fooled fate. After the ritual ended, Klein would remove his theft and restore his original identity and fate, no longer affected by madness, allowing him to become the half-fool. The main problem with this plan was two things. First, maintaining his own state. Any slight accident would cause him to lose control. Second, no one knew for sure how much of the celestial worthy's will in the body of Antigonus' ancestors would awaken or bring about unknown changes. He could only rely on the goddess to balance it out. Crazy? No, like, this is like, hey, like, I'm kind of crazy, you know, like, I kind of do some dumb stuff, okay, but I'm not like mental hell, but I'm not like, you know, going to the psych ward crazy. Like, I'm a little crazy, but not that much. Alright, bye, Zaza. At this moment, the goddess's projection seemed to have guessed his thoughts. If you wish to steal the fate of Antigonus, it is best to let him enter a temporary state of eternal slumber. I can try to help you, but I need a medium to have the necessary confidence. This is an angel that accommodated the fool's uniqueness. What medium? Klein asked. The river water of the river of eternal darkness. As expected. Just the river water? Klein said. You won't be able to take away the entirety of the river of the eternal darkness for the moment. You'll understand once you reach the depths of Calderon City. You can ask questions once you're back. Bro, Klein, my boy Klein has reached such a level that he said, damn goddess, nah, fuck all this. Stop sending your mere angel. She is no longer worthy to speak to me. I must speak to you personally. Ariana? Nah, nothing. Pfft, easy work. Without waiting for Klein to answer, she added, For you, there is unusual danger there. You better wait until your mental state is stable before going. Okay, Klein said. When you wake up, hold a bestowment ritual. I will give you an item that can be used to scoop up the river water. I nodded and said Adam is part of the ancient sun god, one of his identities. She gently, the goddess didn't show any emotions. She gently said, he has already gone to the forsaken land of the gods and met the true creator. That's fast, Klein thought. The only reason why Adam allowed the secret to be exposed was the secret was no longer of value. The goddess then continued, no matter what happens, it will take a large amount of time. Don't pay it any mind now. Klein nodded, with the figure in front of him turning blurry, and everything around him scattering apart into the darkness. He opened his eyes and saw the dark hall, the pure light shining through the holes in the wall. 4 more chapters, good God. Sorry, I'm hurrying a little bit. I'm just reading fast. Like, I'm not skipping anything, but I'm hurrying a little bit. Just because I have a thing I need to go do, and I have to talk with Easy in a couple hours too, so I don't have much time today. Sorry, give me 1 second. Easy just messaged me really quick. Okay. Okay, let's go. Klein watched as scarlet flames appeared and engulfed him. When the sparks scattered, his figure had already vanished from St. Samuel Cathedral. Are you telling me Klein is just unironically doing, like, using his powers in a cathedral because he's like, the fuck are you guys gonna do to me, bitch? I stand above the Pope of your fucking church. Get the fuck out of here. In an ordinary inn, Klein appeared and walked out of the rising flames. Soon, he set up a bestowment ritual, and a mysterious door formed from candlelight opened. An ancient accessory flew out. An accessory made of gold. It seemed to be it looked like a slender bird made with a pair of wings formed with white flames. Isn't this an ASICS thing? Fucking bitch, you're kidding. Okay. I'm friends with the owner. This seems to be an image of the legendary Phoenix ancestor, Gregreus. Beyond this death's own pathway. Salav Kui. Thank you, dude. Oh, God. Yeah, Salavko, if you are just, I appreciate you, man, but just I'll set up Patreon after stream. Jesus Christ, everything okay? Yeah, Salavko, don't donate. I'll set up Patreon after stream. If you're so inclined, feel free to do it after. Don't do it right now. There's just, yeah. What the fuck? Is everyone okay? What the fuck happened? Oh God, I'm so fucking... Are they okay? Yeah. Beyond the ancient death's own pathway, she had apparently grasped partial authority of the apprentice pathway, a preliminary conclusion from the city in the forsaken land of the gods that believed in the phoenix. It's no wonder most ancient gods find it difficult to control their emotions. They're on the edge of madness, constantly teetering between rationality and madness. Before the first blasphemy slate appeared, none of the creatures had a concept of the sequence pathway. They only had the concept of convergence, reproduction, and blind attempts. Klein examined the golden-shaped accessory in front of him. As the owner of Sephra Castle, he could sense the subtle connection between the accessory and the eternal river of darkness, so it can contain the river water. Well, I guess it's not river water in the truest sense, it's just an abstract concept. Klein nodded in thought and threw the golden bird accessory into Sephra Castle. On a mountain peak outside Bayam, the red angel evil spirit watched as the edge of the sea gradually lit up as an orange sun slowly left the horizon. Does he have 11th? They're flat. So, stop making me laugh. You're making me look like a fucking sociopath. Oh God. On a mountain peak outside the Bayam city, the red angel evil spirit watched as the edge of the sea gradually lit up as the orange sun left the horizon. At some point in time, a young man had appeared, a man wearing a crystal monocle on his right eye, a Mon who had become Mr. Error. I am Milosh, but I don't like people to know that. Soren Einhorn Medici turned his head and glanced at Amon. What do you think about Klein and Evernight living under the same roof for thousands of years? I think that makes for one hell of, how do you call it? One hell of a I think that makes for one hell of an introduction. You know, like when people are like, "Oh, how did you two meet?" and you're like, actually, we lived for 15,000 years together. What's up now, bitch?" Okay. No, you met on Tinder? Oh, that's really cute. Okay. We lived together side by side for 15,000 years. Oh, you met in cooking class? That's amazing. Get fucked. Medici turned his head to look at Amon. The sacrifice you provided was the original body. If it wasn't my true body, how could I have the time to steal the ritual and replace Bethel? Amon said. Medici scoffed. How would I know that you weren't trying to trick me? Perhaps you'd predicted my prediction. Amon took out a strange crown covered in rust and blood. This is your reward, as he threw it to him. Wow, you didn't try to go back on your word. What is this? Is this the... Yeah, so everyone is decently okay, but if... You're fucking lying, right, Solovku? What? Huh? Eh? There's no chance you could be talking right now with a fractured femur. You're okay? Don't fuck, dude. I'm autistic. Don't fucking. Okay, I'm subtleties are not my great thing. Okay, just like tell me what you're thinking. Just tell me what's happening. Doing something that doesn't match your expectations is a form of deception, Amon said. I'm looking forward to you becoming the Red Priest and devouring the Demoness. When that happens, your image will be fascinating. I don't think it'll be different from how I am now, Medici said. The two mouths opened on the side of his face before quickly closing. Amon adjusted the monocle on his right eye and looked to the other side of the sea. The situation in the western continent seems interesting. The red anthem was speaking for all of us. On both sides of his face, the bloody mouths appeared again as they said, after absorbing the characteristic, you better stay away from Bansi. No. What? Go, what? Milos, you're a bitch. Go to the, are you going to the hospital, Solovku? What do you... Dude, I have to imagine he's lying to me. What? What if he's not? After absorbing the characteristic, you better stay away from Bansi. If you want to grow breasts and have your body swell up, you can continue staying here. Medici smiled. Isn't that what you both want? Facing the altar with materials and artifacts, Klein raised his right hand and snapped his fingers. The table in front of him instantly was swept clean. A miracle that stemmed from one of his wishes. Compared to the past miracle invokers and attendant mysteries, the miracles I can create are described as quite varied. No, I told you. Are you going to the hospital? Music change? Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll set up. I'll set that up later. Okay. 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 1359? Compared to the past miracle invoker and attendant mysteries, the miracle I can create can be described as quite varied. Klein looked at the cleared table and laughed. He opened the door and left. He wanted to return to the real world, to return to human society, to strengthen his humanity and stabilize his mental state. His problem now was problematic. If he directly sought Miss Justice's treatment before suppressing this awakening will of Celestial Worthy, he would contaminate her and allow his psychiatrist to suffer as well. Of course, if Miss Justice had read Sequence 2, the effects wouldn't be so bad. The current background had just been rebuilt, and the number of pedestrians coming and going had returned to their previous peak. Just as Klein opened the door to the inn, he heard all sorts of voices. Wait! Fresh fish from the Pritz Harbor, it has plenty of meat. Special ginger beer, hot and fresh oyster soup. You going to the hospital, Soka? Okay. What is going on? Most of the noise came from the street vendors and some from small number of passengers who were chasing their public carriage or pedestrians who were knocked down by a rush. The early morning rush had painted a noisy, sonorous, and chaotic scene. Klein moved to these unfamiliar yet familiar shouts and silently looked at the scene in front of him. He didn't move. Only when a thief came close did he put his hands into the back pockets and walk towards the nearest coffee shop. A cup of good coffee, a set of mutton stewed with peas, and a piece of oatmeal bread, Klein said. 11 pence, the man said. The price of everything is rising nowadays. Klein didn't say anything as he took out a 1 solai note from his junk pile and handed it over to the boss. Oh yeah, because he can just get stuff from Sephora Castle immediately now, based. He then found a seat by the window and sat down. Following that, he wrote, "Dear Mr. Razik, I haven't written to you for another month because I had no choice but to sleep for a time. Not because I'm hurt, but because the ritual requires it. When I woke up, I walked into human society again. On the streets, it suddenly reminded me of when I had awoken Tingen. After the fight with Zaratul, he slept for a month? At that time, it was always very noisy in the morning. A lot of citizens would leave their homes and rush to the factories or companies. The mobile peddlers gathered on the street to peddle their wares. Everything was so cheap. I would always protect my wallet and squeeze through them before heading to the station. I worked for the security company at 36 Zutland Street and had a good number of colleagues. Dunn Smith, the supervisor, an experienced and kind beyonder with a mild personality. He cared for all the members of his team, and his only flaw was his bad memory." No, he means the Utopia ritual, I see. "For matters which weren't too important, he would forget quickly, and often said, 'Hold on, there's another thing.'" Why is he talking like this? It sounds like something someone says like before they're dying. "Old Neil was my mysticism teacher. The most helpful skill he taught me was expense claims. He always designed strange magic, hoping to obtain help from the goddess. Some succeeded, while some produced ridiculous artifacts. Until today, I still can recall them. He was a truly kind person, and even until the end, he never wished to harm anyone. Leonard is a poet of his own secrets. At first, I thought he was mysterious and needed some kind of attention on him. Later, I realized he was a simple, impulsive young man. Furthermore, he didn't have any literacy talent, so he could only rely on memorizing things to complete his acting requirements. He had some basic merit. Frey, a cold-looking beyonder who no one dared approach, but he had a kind and warm heart. Kenley was very short. He used to be a civilian staff, but took the initiative to become an official member. I don't know what fracture. Oh, not femur, just the ambulance dude. He said femur, apparently I'm bad at. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay. Because your femur is your thigh bone, which is the thickest bone in the body. If that fractures or breaks in any way, the sheer pain is like unfucking believable. So I've read, I don't know, I've never broken it. Fracture, okay. Not femur. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Okay. Are you in a hospital are you in an ambulance right now, Slavka? Roseanne is the receptionist of the company. She is lively and lazy. She is loved by everyone. Why is he talking in the present state? Am I crazy? Because he's talking in the present state. Roseanne is the receptionist. To us, she's like a younger sister. She also likes every single one of us, but also hates all the official members because her father was once an official beyonder who died in the course of duty. Mrs. Oriana is our accountant, a victim of supernatural cases, delicate and gentle. She pursues an exquisite life, but doesn't speak much. She's good at taking care of everyone. For example, she rarely rejects Old Neil's expense claims, no matter how ridiculous. Sikatron has rare natural white hair and is an unsuccessful author. She has an outstanding temperament and quiet personality. She is very brave and firm. Ma'am Royale is similar to Fry. She doesn't talk much, but is very concerned about her colleagues, and is exceptional at the card table. Brett is best at writing reports amongst the clerks. Jesus Christ, I just shook my whole fucking table. Despite being a civil, he's a romantic gentleman. Even though he's been married for 15 years, he loves his wife so much. Cesare Francis is our carriage driver. Despite being a civilian staff, he has encountered many dangerous things. Therefore, the captain handed over the matters regarding the purchase of goods to him. I occasionally think about it. If it weren't for the things that happened later, I would definitely still live in Tingen. I would work on I think Oriana was there, Devil. I think so. I would still be living in Tingen. I would work on time every day. I'd be on duty to man the basement and deal with the few cases that cropped up. I'd play cards with my colleagues. I would accompany Melissa and Benson to watch a circus or play every now and then. I'd come home early occasionally. I'd study cooking. It is a pity that life is always pushing us forward and making us face changes. Oriana wasn't there? 2 hours? Okay, well, I mean, okay, Australia's big, so, I mean, that's fair. And plus, I assume the site is quite remote. Dude next to me Jesus Christ, don't say that! Excuse me? You should yes, Clown Man, you've said that like 6 times. I've responded to it like twice. I promise I will do that after tomorrow's stream, after tonight's stream, not tonight. But I promise I will do that. Ramiro is jerking off because he's like, oh, gore, I love it. No, Clown Man, you said it a lot more. Okay, you said it there. You said it about 4 minutes ago, and then you said it. It's fine, but you get the point. After Klein wrote down his impression of Tingen, he briefly mentioned that he had completed the ritual to become a Sequence 1 attendant of mysteries, as well as resolved one of his longtime traumas, Zaratul. He didn't describe his predicament, only seriously discussing the mental imprint that Angel suffered. Putting away the fountain pen and folding the paper, Klein reached out to take Azek's copper whistle from Sephora Castle. Inside the cheap coffee shop, white bones spewed out like fountains, forming a huge messenger. The messenger shrank his body and became the height of a normal person, and knelt down on one knee. There's no need to be afraid of me. It's not like I would do anything to you. He then picked up the letter and placed it in the messenger's hand. The messenger nodded. Its body then disintegrated, turning its bones that drilled into the ground. Even this, like, Klein is so sweet. Like, he talks about like all his friends, everything he misses, and he goes, "Oh, I'm now a king of angels. Good luck." If there were no apocalypse, it's best to be a Sequence 7 Beyonder to maintain the life in Tingen and live leisurely, while being capable of handling most things. Well prepared, a magician won't appear too weak even when facing a Sequence 6 or 5. As for Faceless and Marionettes, they can easily get lost while acting. Of course, if one has a sealed creeping hunger, that would be perfect. He didn't know how Amon would treat this artifact, but he only felt that an item of this level was of no value to the Angel of Time. After playing for a while, he would probably throw it into a secret warehouse in darkness. I wonder if there's a chance to retrieve it, Klein thought. This is because even if he could snatch Creeping Hunger, he would throw it into the junk pile, making it wait to be bestowed to the Blessed. This was no different from being in Amon's hands. I lost the mirror. Adam shouldn't be interested in a mirror at that level. Maybe I can get it back. No, Erda seems to have been spewed out from the Chaos Sea. In certain matters, it's possible that it can be a medium. I can only hope that Adam doesn't damage it. After becoming an attendant of mysteries and gaining a deeper control of Sephora Castle, Klein possessed a certain level of authority and concealment. Whenever he was thinking about important matters, there would always be a thin shadow around him that no one could see. This was equivalent to the embryonic form of a divine kingdom, the realm of mysteries. Damn, that's a good name. Therefore, he dared to directly think of Adam's name. After sighing, Klein recalled something and hurriedly got the Worms of Spirit on duty in Sephra Castle to graft a certain area in the spirit world when he fixed when he advanced over. Immediately after, he finished the leftover mutton and the last bit of oatmeal that he dipped into soup. After putting on his hat and standing up, Klein took a step forward and entered the spirit world. He then removed grafting and returned to Utopia. This was to use the abilities of grafting and his ability to freely enter the spirit world to indirectly achieve teleportation. Oh, he goes to the spirit world, grafts the spirit world of where he wants to be with the one that he is, gets out of the spirit world, undoes the grafting. Oh, that's so cute. Of course, the prerequisite was that he could locate the corresponding region in the spirit world. But at this point, as the owner of Sephra Castle, he had quite an advantage. As soon as he stepped into the ruins of Utopia, Klein surveyed the area. There were beyond their characteristics inside the marionettes, the wealth accumulated by Klein in the Forsaken Land of the Gods. They might be useless to him, but he still had many believers in Blessed that would increase in numbers. As a deity, he had to stock up on some characteristics. Thankfully, the Lord of Storm didn't take them away, Klein muttered. That's crazy work. He just popped in, he's like, here's like a couple hundred characteristics, let me just yoink. Eastchester County. As the sun rose, the suffering people returned to their room one after another to make up for their lack of sleep. Only Alfred, Earl Hall's bodyguards, and deacons and Nighthawks sent by the church stayed awake. As Audrey used the golden retriever Susie to monitor the developments of the situation, she opened her bedroom door and walked in. Through the curtains and the weak sunlight, a figure sat on a high stool like a large doll. A huge snow bunny. Mr. Wrath, Audrey said. This was Mr. Wrath from the Alchemist that had pursued the Mind Dragon, Arihog. At least a couple... Oh, true, 5,000 people. Oh, true, couple thousand. Bro, this motherfucker's got a stockpile that would actually rival a church at this point. As she spoke, Audrey reached out her hand to close the door. I'm sorry I used you, the White Rabbit said. However, I might have been used by someone else too. There's no need to apologize, just don't disturb me in the future. She was tacitly expressing that she wanted to leave the Alchemists. The rabbit looked at her. Your previous wish was to protect your parents and family, but don't you think that you've been embroiled in too much? The danger that you've brought them is far greater than the help you've given. Audrey fell silent. Normally speaking, a saint can indeed ensure the safety of their family. Okay. I should be able to see my CPU and RAM usage from Task Manager, right? Why the fuck? Excuse me? It's saying Chrome is using 12 gigs of fucking RAM. Motherfucker, what? Excuse me? What the f- What the fuck? Okay, I'm gonna need to figure something out. That's crazy work. I'm sorry. Why the fuck? I have 3 tabs open. 3. What the fuck? Normally speaking, a saint can indeed ensure the safety of one's family and loved ones, but the premise is that they don't involve themselves in the struggle of deities or angels, or perhaps they are part of a powerful organization that can be relied upon. I have 2 gifts to express my apology. You may choose one. 1. To truly become Miss Pride of the Alchemists, we can ignore all your other secrets and tacitly allow your other operations, as long as you don't reveal our matters and bring danger to the Alchemists. Of course, there will be a disadvantage. You will shoulder the burden of certain matters and may be embroiled quite often. But the only difference is that you will receive a lot of help. What about the second? I can help you divide another identity for you so that she can stay by your family and provide them some sort of protection and comfort. As for you, you will stay away from them and live on in this world. This way, your troubles will not affect the people you want to protect. You don't need to answer me right away, or you can combine the two methods. You know how to get into the Garden of Eden. As the rabbit spoke, its figure disappeared. Dude, I don't know what the fuck. Yeah, like, switch to... Is Opera GX better? I don't know, I've never used it. I've just always been a Chrome stan. But 12 gigs is crazy. Bayam, in a room in the Church of the Sea God. Danitz, dressed in a gorgeous robe, sat on a chair looking at Alger. The sleepiness from waking up in the middle of the night was gone from fright. A cardinal from the Church of Storm wanted a defect. This was a huge matter. Even then, he had only a rough understanding of the Church of Storm. Danitz believed that their style in handling matters, they wouldn't let this go. Perhaps a calamity was already on the way. Furthermore, a cardinal is a highly valued member. Alger's betrayal may attract the god's punishment. This made him recall a saying: "Don't be near people abandoned by the gods." If not for the fact that Gehrman had sent a message in the name of the fool's attendant to help settle in Alger, I would have already tied this ticking time bomb and sent him back. What the fuck were you gonna do to a sequence 3, you idiot? Of course, he was just letting his wild thoughts wander. After a while, someone knocked, and Danitz jumped. "Any results?" the low voice asked. The intelligent supervisor of the Church of the Sea God simply replied, "Lord Oracle, the Church of Storm has switched cardinals." What about the original one? It said that he was transferred back to their headquarters. Transferred? He then saw a grey fog appear in front of him. He heard from Mr. Fool, "From this day forth, Alger Wilson shall wear a mask and become the pontiff of the Church of the Sea God." Wait, he hasn't become a sea god yet? Oh, I thought he had become a sea god. Promotion from Cardinal to Pontiff. Let's go, baby. That smells like a promotion. Do we stick with this song? Do we switch it up? I'm gonna switch it up to Lies of P. Pontiff. Danitz jumped. Nearly unable to believe the revelation. If it wasn't for the fact that it came directly from Mr. Fool, he would have definitely cursed. "Lord Oracle, is there anything else?" the intel supervisor of the Church of the Sea God said. "Yes, pay close attention to the developments of the Cathedral of Waves." "Yes, Lord Oracle. How far are you?" I ever since I got to that fucking clown, I haven't played it. I'm not gonna lie. Danitz turned his head and looked at Alger. "Mr. Fool has already issued a revelation." Alger didn't hesitate. He immediately stood up and pressed his right hand to his chest. "God says that from this day forward, Alger will wear a mask and become the pontiff of the Church of the Sea God. Mr. Fool's will is my will," Alger said. Half of the smile was for Danitz to see, showing his humility, while the other half was from the bottom of his heart. This meant two things: that Mr. Fool and the Lord of Storm had reached an agreement, meaning his betrayal would no longer be pursued. Of course, he had to wear a mask and use a fake name to prevent the humiliation from the Church of the to the Church of Storm. The clown here, yeah, exactly, yeah, I remember. The clown that because there's like 4 people around you shooting at you, and the clown is, and then there's like a ball or something, like just. Ugh. From Alger's point of view, this meant that he had officially become Mr. Fool's subordinate. In future, be it the exchange of the identity of the sea god or being the leader of the Church of the Fool, there'd be plenty of opportunities. You can skip him? Oh no, Romero, I'm not saying I'm stuck on him. I'm not saying like I can't beat that guy. I just mean like I stopped playing at that because like I started work and then I just didn't have time. I'm not saying that I can't. Motherfucker, you think I can't beat that guy? After the bow, Alger waited patiently for the Oracle to bring him a silver mask. He received the mask and wore it. After wearing the red gloves, Leonard strolled through the shores of the Medici Shire. As for the mysterious opening of doors last night, he received an order from the cathedral to not pursue it. Regarding this matter, Leonard couldn't help but ask Pallez. Mr. Door had returned to the real world, and Amon took the opportunity to steal his apotheosis ritual and become heir. At the same time, Mr. Fool awakened further. Through Sephra Castle, he briefly and weakly connected to the Beyonders of the Seer, Apprentice, and Marauder pathway. As an angel of the Marauder pathway, Pallez was undoubtedly able to sense the changes in Amon's corresponding authority in his apotheosis. He had also discovered that Sephra Castle had established a connection with him, was the door to your mother's house. I'm gonna remember that, Hope. I'll remember that. Old man, Amon has already become a sequence 0, so you shouldn't be of much use to him anymore. Why do you still want to parasitize my body? Naive. Do you think you don't need my guidance anymore after becoming a saint? You can choose to teach me face to face, Leonard said. To him, having an angel parasitizing him was both a good and a bad thing. Good, if he encountered a mythical creature, he wouldn't be completely defenseless. As long as he shouted the old man, the problem might be solved. The disadvantage was that his life was always in the hand of a parasite. This question was once Leonard's greatest worry, but it wasn't too problematic now, because Mr. Fool's awakening was deepening, allowing him to suppress Pallez. Furthermore, Leonard had also become a high-ranking deacon. He would definitely be under the watch of the goddess, and he could even be specially marked by her. Yeah, you ain't all that, brother. If the old man had some nefarious thoughts, he would have done so long ago. What Leonard was most vexed about was that too many things weren't convenient. Although he was already used to having the old man parasitizing him, he would occasionally chat with him on the toilet and still preferred having that time to himself. Therefore, he felt that getting the old man to leave his body and letting him live in his house like an elder man would be a better way of getting along. Are you still thinking about removing the parasitizing when you return home and parasitizing when out? Pallez said. Do you think I'm your bodyguard? If you haven't fully recovered and wish to continue, I don't have any objections. Next up is actually the most dangerous time. For the positions under the Lord of Mysteries, the Fool and Amon will have a battle. When the time comes, under the influence of all kinds of Beyonder characteristics, angels of the same pathway may be affected. It's better to be kept under the protection of the Evernight's gaze. Wait, Pallez just told Leonard about above the sequences. Doesn't he just get fucking murked right now by Mother Goddess of Depravity or whatever? When the Lord of the Mysteries is born, I won't even bother with you, even if you were to beg me to be parasitized. Lord of Mysteries? This isn't something you can understand. Of course, with me around, you don't need to worry. Oh, never mind, he doesn't know. Reverend, a telegram from the Holy Cathedral. Leonard received a telegram from a member. Southern Continent, Rose School of Thought. He quickly returned to the largest cathedral in the city. In this, and used a large-scale ritualistic magic to establish a connection with the Holy Cathedral. He then met with the Pope, Ma'am Mariana, and other high-ranking members. After a simple exchange, Leonard understood. The various churches would delegate 3 to 4 demigods to head to the southern continent to besiege the Rose School of Thought. A long-term mission, as the Rose School of Thought demigods knew how to hide. They did things very secretively, and they weren't easy to track. According to what the Pope said, it was already considered quite good to see enough results within 3 years. During this process, the Holy Cathedral would observe the situation and rotate demigods to ensure the high-ranking deacons and archbishops were stable. Leonard looked around and said, "Old man, things are a little strange. Why would the churches suddenly target the Rose School of Thought?" It wasn't an easy task. It wasn't as if the Orthodox churches hadn't made attempts, but they could only suppress and weaken the Rose School of Thought. On one hand, it was because there were cracks in their alliance, there were suspicions amongst each other and a lack of cooperation. On the other, due to the Rose School of Thought's demigods' indulgence, their mental states were abnormal. When faced with danger, they knew how to avoid, hide, and conceal. Mother, you're true. Yeah, like you just saying the words accidentally somehow and it blows up. In addition, the blessings of the chained god and the mother tree of desire, it was hard for deities to provide such precise guidance. Pallez then said, "This is to eliminate potential threats and prepare for the apocalypse." The apocalypse. Backland, Harvest Church. Father Emlyn had just entered the hall Emlyn White had just entered the hall before he could head to the room and change. He saw Father Utravsky. "The Earth Mother has instructed us to head to the southern continent and bury the evildoers," the Blessed said. I love how he's like, life is sacred unless the Mother Earth says so, and then we fucking beat their ass, bro. I'm gonna bury them. His voice reverberated in the hall like a slow clap of thunder. So the dream last night was real, Emlyn thought. Last night, he dreamt of the ancestor, that she'd wished for him to work together with Father Utravsky and the Rose School of Thought's temperance faction to head to the southern continent to deal with the Rose School of Thought members who believed in the moon. Bury them and let plants grow. True. Father Utravsky is like, these hands are rated E for everybody if the goddess says so, buddy. Let's go. He often had fake revelations, so Emlyn didn't take them to heart. But here, he acknowledged Father Utravsky's saying, "There's no rush. I'll first contact the members of the Rose School of Thought's temperance faction. Select some sanguine as well," Father Utravsky said. In the Intis Republic, in the capital, Trier, the supervisor was assigning tasks to his subordinates. Suddenly, his vision blurred as he heard a distant voice. Orville Dillon. Orville Dillon. I love how Argo used to hear Hornaces Flagrea, and this guy hears like Orville Dillon. Like, I guess we're just built different, you know. Dillon? That's what you're hearing? Okay, I mean, you do you. Dillon? That's what you're gonna go with? Okay. Map? Okay. Sure, yeah, we do. As a Beyonder who had joined the Intis Public Security Bureau as a secret member, it wasn't the first time Antoine had heard something like this. In the past, whenever he heard this, he would hear Hornaces Flagrea. He nearly lost control. Unlike before, the content seemed to have changed. After the ravings died down, everything returned to normal. Antoine frowned. My mental state has been so stable, and I haven't consumed any potions. Why am I hearing whispers? And it's not the same as before. What the hell is Orville? Oh no. Dillon, the brass of the Order have mentioned that our mysterious and terrifying leader once hid in an ancient castle called Dillon. Once I recall that existence, but I can't help but shiver. Although he returned to normal in the past 2 years, the terrifying legends and physical destruction that he left behind is enough to give people a lifetime of nightmare. Antoine calmed down and suppressed his puzzlement. He continued to assign missions to his subordinates. In front of a tombstone, Klein, who had just put down the white flowers, turned his head slightly. Although he couldn't hear anything, as the King of Angels who wielded control over a portion of his pathway's authority, he could sense that something was amiss. Zaratul isn't dead? Klein retracted his gaze. Back then, he had relied on his level, status, and authority to forcibly stop Zaratul's resurrection, but he didn't sense anything. The Beyonder characteristic he absorbed from Zaratul was the entire set from 9 to 1. This meant that this only included one single Miracle Invoker characteristic, and Will Ossipton had mentioned that Zaratul had taken both an additional miracle invoker characteristic in them. Therefore, the reality of the situation was that there was no doubt there was an additional miracle invoker characteristic on Zaratul which vanished. As for whether there were any additional characteristics like Scholar of Yore or Bizarre Sorcerer, Klein had no way to guess. Either way, it meant Klein, as he long suspected, Zaratul wasn't completely dead. Of course, if the other party wanted to revive, it wouldn't be simple, because using simple method would result in a lack of concealment and would allow the higher sequencers to realize it. When Zaratul was able to separate the Sequence 2 characteristics undoubtedly a Sequence 1, there weren't too many enemies that could restrain him. Therefore, Klein believed that he had used a portion of the Beyonder characteristic that he had dissociated from himself to seize the opportunity. However, it wasn't to directly use it to revive. Instead, it was to make plenty of preparations. He needed an opportunity or some medium to make the preparations play out. From the looks of it, he hid that portion of characteristic that contained Miracle Invoker characteristics in a particular manner and concealed it carefully. Otherwise, when I advanced, I should have been able to use Sephra Castle to see it. The next step should be to use some concealed method or entice a specific target to revive him. He doesn't have the uniqueness, so he can't broadcast everywhere. Besides, he has to be sure that the advanced me or Amon doesn't hear it and spoil his plan. The number of targets are few, all members of the Secret Order, or a portion of the members? Why are high sequencers so goddamn hard to kill? There were all sorts of preparations and trump cards. This made him truly understand why the goddess didn't kill the ancestor of the indigenous family. However, an intricate and complicated setup often meant the ability to take risks is inferior. Who knows if Zaratul's resurrection plan will benefit some lucky Secret Order member, or the possibility of this happening might be even higher than him returning to the fog of history. Also, there's a chance of being interfered, influenced, or exploited by outer deities. Change music back? Okay, sounds good. He didn't have any thoughts of finding the Miracle Invoker characteristic. This was because the immense pressure brought about by Amon. He had no choice but to seize the opportunity to strengthen his humanity and stabilize his state, and to head to Calderon City to retrieve the river water of the River of Eternal Darkness. By the time he had advanced and restored a new balance for the situation he was in, he didn't mind heading to Intes to deal with the members of the Secret Order, to look for a vault where Zaratul was hidden. He reined in his thoughts and lowered his head and looked at the tombstone in front of him. He put his hands in his pocket and entered the spirit world. I love how it's so casual. Like, Klein is like so cowardly, and then as soon as he's stronger than you, he becomes so disrespectful. You know, I think I have like a spare 2 minutes 30 seconds on Wednesday. I'll pencil in to kill Zaratul then. It shouldn't take more than 1:30, but you know, I'll give myself some extra time just in case if I'm feeling down that day. I might try to have I might want to have like a big dinner after that. I don't know, like it's gonna take a lot of thought to figure out like what I want to have for dinner. Zaratul is no problem. That's like easy work, but like dinner, you know, big plans. Like, what the fuck is going? What? In recent times, he was like a tourist in mysticism. Occasionally, he would return to where he would head to where he used to be, and occasionally, under the guidance of fate, he would occasionally travel the spirit world, heading to different realities. Different reality? This motherfucker can hop universes? This made his mind a lot more stable than when he met the goddess. In the spirit world, the saturated layers that resembled an abstract oil painting, Klein wandered aimlessly as he walked steps in a direction that wasn't the usual meaning of the word direction. Excuse me? Following the guidance of fate and spirituality, he left this place and returned to the real world. The first thing that appeared in front of him was a small square and a cathedral of the Evernight. I'm back in Backland? Oh, change music. Klein looked up at the sun that penetrated the clouds and followed the crowd to the cathedral. The moment he entered, he saw Benson Moretti. The black-haired, brown-eyed man whose face looked similar to Klein, but the slightly older man had his hair combed neatly backwards, revealing his forehead. He stood beside the altar in a well-ironed suit, looking nervous. Klein stared before looking away. Following that, he swept his gaze at the front pew and saw Melissa in a white conservative dress. Is Benson getting married? Compared to before, the young no, but Melissa wouldn't wear a white dress at a wedding. That'd be silly. Compared to before, the young lady's face was no longer had that adolescent look to it. There was more meat to her face, no longer making her look so skinny. She kept chatting with the people around her, skillfully handling all kinds of matters and socializing. She still dresses in such an old-fashioned manner. At least she didn't wear black, Klein thought, as he smiled and sat down. 10 minutes later, Melissa finished her work and sat down. The joyous music started to play. As it turned solemn, a lady wearing a clean white wedding gown. It is his wedding! A lady wearing a clean white wedding gown held her father's arm in one hand and her mother's in the other. She walked down the aisle towards the altar. Benson, who was standing near the altar, gulped a mouthful of saliva as he couldn't help but smile. This was his wedding. Klein, who was in the corner, saw this scene and leaned back, lowered his head and muttered, "He smiles like a curly-haired baboon." After the bride was brought to the front of the altar by her parents, she bowed to Benson before facing the sacred emblem and the priest. Benson bowed and turned around also. After the bride's parents sat down, the priest said, "Dear friends and family, we are gathered here to witness and celebrate the union of this couple under the auspice of the benevolent goddess. Praise the lady," all guests said, including Klein. When everything settled down, the priest turned his head and said to the bride, "Do you, Lucy Brooks, take Benson Moretti to be your lawfully wedded husband, promising to love and cherish through joy and sorrow, sickness and health, and whatever challenges you may face for as long as you both shall live?" "I do." Benson's smile reappeared. The priest then turned to look at Benson and said, "Do you, Benson Moretti, take Lucy Brooke to be your lawfully wedded wife, promising to love and cherish through joy and sorrow, sickness and health, and whatever challenges you may face, for as long as you both shall live?" "I do." Upon seeing this, Melissa's vision blurred. Her heart winced in joy. After going through all the ups and downs, their family had finally welcomed a new member. Suddenly, she turned her head subconsciously to the corner and saw an empty seat. There was no one there. Melissa pursed her lips and shook her head. After scanning the area for several seconds, she looked back at the altar. It wasn't until the priest announced that Benson and Melissa were man and wife that Melissa did smile again. In the Hall family manor in Eastchester County, Klein walked out of the void. He had stabilized his mind and could now seek treatment from his psychiatrist. At the same time, he needed to solve a problem. Because that brought about his humanity in like a deeper sense than in a long time. Because he like finally felt so anchored. Because it was like, oh, even if they don't know me, like I still have family. Like even if they don't know that they have me, I know I have them. So that brought him back, and he was like, okay, I'm okay now. I can go to Audrey to fix the rest of it. We're okay. I notice how that's so cute. Like he didn't mean to come here, but fate brought him here. That's amazing. That's so good. That's so good. That's beautiful. Roselle. Evernight. Damn, these are cool. Oh, this is so cute. I love these. You guys know I love chibi art. By the way, does anyone know, like, I don't know, maybe I'll just find someone myself, but like, does anyone know of like a I don't know where the fuck any of you would, but like just asking. Do any of you know like a good person I can go to get like commissioned artwork? Because I want to change my profile pic for YouTube and like most of my social medias and stuff. But I don't know what to, I don't know who to go to have that done. I don't know. Damn, those look cool. Like I saw a guy on YouTube, I saw a guy on Instagram who does it, or maybe a girl, I don't know. She was like, they were phenomenal. They were so good. Like they were very expensive, I want to be clear. Well, their artwork is beyond reproach. Like I can't even. Jesus, what the fuck? Klein hearing the ravings, I see. Oh, this look. Damn, Klein looks so cool. Wait, Nightwalker, you're saying the reason Klein is always aware that he's in a dream is that he's a blessed of the Evernight? Because from the very start she was like, I'll help you out. There are specific art request sites that you can go. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, okay, cool. So like right from, oh, these are so cute. This one in particular, because he looks so pissed. He's like, damn it. No, that's so cute. Oh, that's adorable. Romero, I'll do that. Maybe we'll do that like tomorrow night or something. I have to get some stuff done, and I have to talk with Easy soon too, so I don't have too much time. Let me go. We'll do it after. We'll do it tomorrow. I promise. It should be in like 2.5 or 3.5 hours or so. Oh no, it should be a little bit. Oh no, it should be. Oh no, sorry. It'll be in about 5 hours. Sorry, it'll be in about 5 hours because Easy. Sorry. Yeah, I hope that's literally. It's gonna go to like profile. It's gonna go to like profile pic and then Easy. Oh yeah, sorry. It's gonna be closer to 5 hours. My bad. Klein. Oh, this is so. Oh, this is so cool. Wow, that looks beautiful. Sorry, I confused Easy's time with my time because it's 5 o'clock his time, but I thought it was 5 o'clock. Yeah, never mind. Damn, that looks cool. Evernight trailer 1. Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it there. I'm gonna because I have to. I'll get like a Patreon set up as well. Because at that point, why not? And then I also, yes, I need new thumbnail art. This is also true. Fuck. Milos. My boy. Are we still here? I mean, this is nice. I'm an ace mythical creature form. Is a furry, so have fun? What do you mean have fun? What the fuck do you want me to do with this? Okay, I will, because I'll get a Patreon set up, and then I also need to somehow link Patreon to, like, oh, Salavka, I told you to wait. I told you to wait till I got Patreon set up. Oh my god. We're making a new quiz? Oh god, I'm gonna need to study up then. Okay. Because then I also need to figure out how to link Patreon donos to Alright, love you, buddy. Because I need to figure out how to set Patreon for like when I'm streaming so that, you know, it pops up with some kind of like notification or something. Let's see. Fuck me, I'm gonna fail so hard. Oh god, you guys aren't even ready. Okay, that's it, guys. I gotta end stream. I gotta go do a couple things. My dad's gonna go beat my ass soon. All right. Yeah, dude, I'm gonna get fucked. There's no. I'm gonna remember so little. Just put a link. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Have a great rest of your day or nights. I will catch y'all tomorrow, or hopefully in a couple hours when Easy and I talk. That's it. Bye, guys.